I can fucking sit in my seat. Oh my god.
Some WD-40 for that chair.
It's just the fucking thing.
Oh, the cushion.
Yeah.
The ass cushion.
The ass cushion. Okay. Welcome back.
Hi.
Jesus Christ.
Let's leave all that in.
It's been an undergoing to just get this started. Welcome back to Finding New Films. Hello, audio listeners. This is your first episode that has just you guys singled out, because I didn't even know we were going to have audio only stuff last week when we were making the podcast. So, hello to you. Hello to Trevor.
Hello. Now I am not just insecure about my appearance and my voice, but I'm insecure about people just hearing my voice. It doesn't really help to take the video out.
Well, it's not completely out. The video, what's that?
I mean, if you're watching the video, you're kind of a creep. You want to look at us.
Yeah, that's
That's kind of not cool.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
I mean, it's cool that you're interested, but what do you want? What are you looking at?
They're looking at the cool set.
It is. I can't blame them. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the podcast sets of all time.
Yeah, it's one of them for sure.
What did we watch this week?
We watched Psycho from 1960 last week.
Crazy.
It was Psycho. We watched last week. We watched Pearl from 2022, and then this week we're watching a movie from 1960. We're literally going 62 years in the past for this one. It's pretty crazy.
I'm 2 for 2 on black and white movies so far.
Trevor cannot seem to get a black and white movie or get a color movie.
You know, I don't see color. Cut that out. No, I was pretty excited for this because when we were brainstorming, like, what are we gonna watch? Because it was kind of on the fly just a few days ago. I was like, something old.
Yeah.
So kind of my fault for setting the bar there.
Yeah.
If I wanted to watch something in color, I mean, I kind of shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, you did. And you did say old horror.
Specifically old horror. I was thinking like Psycho, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all me. It's all me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. What can I say? You know.
And what can you really do there? Nothing much.
Those were the days.
Those are the breaks.
I yearn for those days. Back when, you know, a car salesman could just talk shit straight to your face if you were a woman.
We'll get into that, because that was yeah, we'll talk about it. So, runtime for this movie, 109 minutes. Writer was Joseph Stefano. The author of the book that inspired this movie was Robert Bloch. The director was Alfred Hitchcock. Score done by Bernard Herrmann. Camera was done by John L. Russell. Stars in the movie were Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh. I sound stupid. Vera Miles, John Gavin, Martin Balsam, John McIntyre, and Simon Oakland. Plot. I will do this quickly. Okay. So plot is as follows. During a Friday afternoon tryst in a Phoenix hotel, real estate secretary Marion Crane and her boyfriend Sam Loomis discuss their inability to get married because of Sam's debts. Marion returns to work, steals a cash payment of $40,000 entrusted to her for a deposit, and sets off to drive to Sam's home in Fairville, California. Marion hurriedly trades her car en route, arousing suspicion from both the car dealer and a California Highway Patrol officer. Marion stops for the night at the Bates Motel located off the main highway and hides the stolen money inside a newspaper. Proprietor Norman Bates descends from a large house overlooking the motel, registers Marion under an assumed name, and invites her to dine with him. After Norman returns to his house, Marion overhears Norman arguing with his mother about Marion's presence. Norman overhears. Norman returns with a light meal and apologizes for his mother's outburst. And Norman discusses his hobby as a taxidermist, his mother's illness, and how people have a private trap they want to escape. Marion decides to drive back to Phoenix in the morning and return the stolen money. As Marion showers, a shadowy figure in a dress appears and stabs her to death. Soon after, Norman cleans up the murder scene, putting Marion's body, belongings, and hidden cash in her car and sinks it in a swamp. Marion's sister Lila arrives in Fairvale a week later, tells Sam about the theft and demands to know her whereabouts. He denies knowing anything about her disappearance. A private investigator named Arbogast approaches them, saying that he has been hired to retrieve the money. Arbogast stops at the Bates Motel and questions Norman, whose nervous behavior and inconsistent answers arouse his suspicion. He examines the guest register and discovers from her handwriting that Marion spent a night at the hotel. When Arbogast learns that Marion had spoken to Norman's mother, Arbogast asks to speak to her, but Norman refuses it. Arbogast updates Sam and Lila about his search and promises to meet them within an hour at Sam's home. After he enters the Bates home to search for Norman's mother, the shadowy figure emerges from the bedroom and stabs him to death. Sam visits the motel with Lila, and they hear nothing from Arbogast, worried something went wrong. He sees a figure in the house who he assumes is Norman's mother. Lila and Sam alert the local sheriff, who tells them Norman's mother died by a murder-suicide by strychnine poisoning 10 years earlier. The sheriff suggests Arbogast lied to Sam and Lila so he could pursue Marion and the money. Convinced that something happened to Arbogast, Lila and Sam drive to the motel. Sam distracts Norman in the office while Lila sneaks into the house. Suspicious, Norman becomes agitated and knocks Sam unconscious. As he goes to the house, Lila hides in the fruit cellar where she discovers the mother's mummified body. She screams, and Norman, wearing woman's clothing and a wig, enters the cellar and tries to stab her. Sam appears and subdues him. At the police station, a psychiatrist explains that Norman killed his mother and her lover 10 years earlier out of jealousy. Unable to bear the guilt, Norman mummified his mother's corpse and began treating it as if she was still alive. He recreated his mother as an alternate personality, as jealous and possessive toward Norman as he felt about his mother. When Norman is attracted to a woman, Mother takes over, and he killed 2 other missing women before Marion and Arbogast. The psychiatrist concludes that Mother has now submerged Norman's personality. Norman sits in a jail cell and hears his mother saying the murders were all his doing. Marion's car is retrieved from the swamp. And that was Psycho. It truly was.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
You're calling that.
That's exactly what it was. Alrighty. Thoughts going into the movie?
Well, like, I knew about the iconic shower scene and like that whole score. Like, I thought just besides that, the scoring in this movie was great. The score of the movie, the scoring of it.
Yeah.
It was good. The music was good. It really set the mood, and it made it feel more intense than it would have. More intense than I thought it would have going into such an old movie. I mean, I'm comparing it to like my ideal slasher movie, which is like Scream. So it was definitely not like, I wasn't going in like, oh, this is scary, but it was definitely intense. It felt more like a thriller to me, but I understand that there's like limitations on what you could put on film in 1960 and how big a deal this movie was back then. I mean, there's stories about people running, screaming from the theater. Which is like, damn pussy, but whatever. Like,
that's really funny.
I think the casting was good. I don't remember any of the actors' names.
Yeah.
They're probably all dead now.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But I thought the guy who played Norman was proper creepy. I mean, just from pretty much the moment you meet him, it's like, okay, there's something off about this guy. And it's like, welcome to my bird room. You want a sandwich and milk? And he's just drinking milk like that. Like, I know they didn't have a ton of options for drinks in the 1960s, but like, just milk. I was like, I'm going to have a sandwich, a ham and cheese and a glass of milk.
Yeah, that is pretty
That
weird.
sounds fucking sickening.
At least when I'm drinking milk, it's,
Chocolate milk?
cake or...
A brownie or like a Pop-Tart or something. I mean, cereal, duh.
Yeah.
I'm not just eating a sandwich.
Maybe their snacks were not as good as 1960.
Now they had Cheetos and stuff, right?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. You could have told me anything right there. I would have been like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that cars were pretty new around that time.
Yeah, that's when they invented carbohydrates.
They hadn't, they hadn't been on the moon yet. They're primitive people. It's a different time.
Yeah. Well, they're a different type of human being because we evolve.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, like, I've got webbed toes.
Right.
I'm sure they did.
Right. Well, I just think...
You've got webbed toes, right?
Yeah. I'll agree with you, though, about the score. The score was, like, super commanding of the whole tone of the movie.
Yeah, I think the black and white actually helped.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. It just made it all, darker,
Right.
obviously. But, like, it was very thematic with that, and it fit with, like, kind of the theme that I found in the movie was, like, suppression. And it's like, it's not just suppressing, like, the characters are suppressing emotions, suppressing desire, but it's, like, suppressing just, like, the vibe, for lack of a better word. I hate to say that. I hate to just say something that vague.
Yeah, the
So
vibe
it
was
just, like,
off as fuck.
And it's, like, it's not because of, like, they had color film in 1960. I mean, right?
I'll look that up. Keep
Yeah,
saying your point, though.
I mean, I'm not sure, but I feel I want to say they could have, but maybe it's just like most screens couldn't screen in color, so there was no reason to film it in color. That'd probably make more sense. If they did have it, it had to have been new, but they had like in television or whatever at that time. But a lot of stuff about this movie stands out from a 21st century perspective. Not just the score, which is like, more an orchestra rather than like, I think most modern horror movies do like a synth, kind of like and high pitched like noises and just weird sounds that like still make you feel uncomfortable and kind of on edge. But like, I feel like doing it with just an orchestra feels so much more like, I don't know, gripping. And they can change so quickly, like, going from like, just casual, like I'm driving down the highway to like, oh man, this like scary encounter with this cop and you can't see his eyes behind those dark sunglasses and like what's the deal here? Like what's this guy doing? Turns out nothing ever comes of that, but I feel like they just did a great job setting the tone. And aside from that, what stands out most compared to modern horror movies is just the lack of gore, which is, that's something they couldn't really do at the time, I don't think. I don't know if they'd screen a movie if it had, like, just lots of blood. Or, they didn't really have, like, the special effects to be like, here's this person all gashed up and fucking torn to pieces. They couldn't do that. So they just went with more of, like, psychological horror, obviously. The title of the movie, Psycho. Any update on color?
I'm seeing 1936, it looks like. I don't know.
Well, what's your fucking excuse, Hitchcock?
I don't
Saving
know.
money. I mean,
it's like none of them can just give me a straight answer. Like, oh, it was this movie. It was the first one. It's all like, some like to say, and it like goes into a story.
It's like it's so far back in time that there's contention over it. It's not like it's antiquity.
Yeah, like
it's like the legends say, but it was actually highly exaggerated. It's like this isn't the Battle of 300. Like, what's going on?
I know we have lost films, but like I think we would all know. There's probably some newspaper out there about
like,
the first color film. Like, I don't know, whatever, man.
I know they had colored animation, like cartoons.
Yeah.
But, whatever. I think it's probably better that it wasn't in color. I think, honestly, old movies that are in color look shittier.
Yeah.
Black and white kind of preserves, like, I don't know, it makes it a little bit more ageless. And as long as you don't notice the rampant sexism.
Yeah.
I mean, right from the get-go, you got Sam just really, really macking on. Like, he's like, look, she's your girlfriend, dude.
I had
But
Sam as
still,
a horn dog.
I literally wrote, Sam fucks.
He does fuck.
And Marion is she's cool with that. She's willing to do that, but she wants more out of Sam. And at first, I mean, I think I was proven wrong more or less, but I thought Sam was like really not intending to marry her. Thought he was just using the alimony and his dead father's debts as like an excuse to just like avoid commitment. But I mean, he did investigate the murder and like save her sister's life. So I think like, you know what, he's probably a good guy. He's a little bit of a himbo. He got knocked out by a vase, but he woke up pretty quick. He didn't have too many brain cells to lose. So he just jumped, he springed into action.
Yeah.
So I thought it was super ironic how he's like, I need to be the one to confront Bates because you're a woman. You can't hold him down for any period of time while I go investigate the house. And then he just, like, within 5 seconds is knocked out cold by this fucking incel. He just went bonk.
It's a dink.
And I was really just waiting for him to try to bang Lila. It seemed like that's where I was going.
They were starting, he was like, it was starting to be like, I think there was like a Family Guy thing, where it was like, you know, when such and such dies, I'll be here for you. I will always be there for you. No, it was the other guys. That was not.
Yes.
Sheila, if he ever dies, I'm right there. I will always be there for you.
It's the one Mark Wahlberg movie I'll ever watch.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
He's funny in that movie, though.
Yeah, he's pretty great. And also, you know what? Actually, change your mind. Ted 2. Not Ted. Ted 2.
You heard it here, folks.
Here, folks. We're doing a special episode next week.
Yeah, we're doing a rewatch.
We're doing back-to-back Ted.
Ted, it'll be a 2.5 hour pod.
We're gonna have the bear on. Ted, he's gonna be here.
Hey guys, how are you? I wrote down the quote, headaches are like resolutions, you forget them as soon as they stop hurting.
I liked that one a lot.
It was a really good quote. I have a lot of quotes in here. There was a lot of really good. Well, one of them is me just pointing out how funny the vocabulary is at some points.
Yeah, I want to talk about the name of one specific character. What the fuck is an arbogast? What's that?
What is that?
It's like, I'm aghast at that.
Arbogast.
I'm aghast at that name. Arbogast.
Was a Roman army officer of Frankish origin. Sorry. Jesus.
That is, I mean, there couldn't have been some other reason to use that.
Born in 4th century Galatian Minor, died September 393 rather.
I guess the writer just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unique for sure. It makes him a standout character. But he did. I mean,
that's just like, oh.
The way he died, he just walked up those stairs so casually.
You're not a very good investigator, bro.
No, it wasn't really prepared at all. And I still don't see why. I mean, the explanation is like, oh, we don't want Marion to get in trouble. But, like, you probably should have involved the police if she's been gone for a week. And then you meet this guy who's got stuffed birds in the office, and you're just like, she's probably just fine.
Yeah, one of my notes is this guy likes taxidermy a lot, like a little too much.
Yeah, that was, like, probably the first red flag besides him. I think it was right before that where he referred to his mother, and instead of saying my mother or my mom.
Oh, we also got to talk about that creepy ass dude flaunting his cash and like trying to flirt.
Yeah, what was like? He looked like an oilman. That's Doug Dimmadome.
He did, yeah. He did give us some Doug Dimmadome vibes.
I mean, back then, 40,000 cash.
Yeah, 40,000 cash
That's
in
insane.
1960. What?
I feel like you couldn't reasonably expect someone to not steal that back then. When you could probably comfortably live off of 40,000 for a while. I mean, that's just. I mean, it was literally enough to buy a whole house. Like, and I guarantee it.
364,000. Sorry, no. Is equivalent to the purchasing power in today of $404,283.
Literally 10 times. Yeah, that's
fucking
pretty
insane.
nice. That's pretty nice.
Wow.
So that would have been a nice house. I mean, shit.
So when she was saying I want a private island, she was not joking.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
You know,
I laughed it back because I was like, "What the fuck are you gonna get with $40K?"
I don't know what
like,
number.
That's a car. What are you talking about?
I don't know what number I was expecting when she was trading in her car.
Yeah.
I wasn't even cognizant of the fact that, like, of course, a used car lot was a thing back then too.
Right.
But I was like, after trading in the car, only $700. Like,
Yeah.
that's not even a down payment now.
Yeah, and it was 19. Like, I guess they were filming in like 59 because the movie came out in 60, and she bought a 57.
Like, that's not even that old.
And it's it's like a brand new car basically, and she's buying it for like $700 after trading in a car.
I mean, I don't think she accomplished much by trading in the car because
she watched the
cop watched her do it, already had her old plates, and also
and
anybody who came through there would be like, "Oh, this is her car."
And the dude was super suspicious the whole time.
The whole time,
and like, of course, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, no, she was weird as fuck. Like, I have copies of her ID and everything."
One of my first couple notes was like, "Marion is a terrible liar."
Yeah,
she does not operate well under pressure at all. I mean, and she's not even good at conversation, even compared to Bates when she's like, "Oh, you should send your mother to an institution." Right, so like that's still like a pretty out there thing to say to someone now, especially someone you just met. But like in the '60s, when institutions were basically prisons, so your mother should go there.
Yeah,
because she yelled at you.
You should put your mom in a loony house. She should have just said that. Honestly, that would have been like more.
Strap her up in a straight jacket and spray her down with a hose.
What if she gets waterboarder?
Yeah, have you ever tried Chinese water torture? Lobotomy. You know, that works for everybody. You got a bad personality. Let's take an ice pick straight to the brain. Let's see.
I feel like the movie like really moves super fast, like throughout the whole.
Yeah, I watched it first thing this morning, and it just kind of like before I knew it, I was like, oh, like this is like the final act, like something's big's about to happen. And I was like, I had to pause, and I was like, oh, only 15 minutes left, and I was like, he's only killed 2 people.
I paused the movie last night because I started to fall asleep, and I was like, damn, I only got like 20 minutes in, and it was like 38 minutes, and I was like, they are just meeting each other for the first time, and you're like, wow.
And see, like, besides seeing that shower scene, I was pretty fuzzy on like the whole movie, so I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I kind of figured like his mom can't be real, like we haven't seen her on screen yet. Like, there's a shadowy figure, and you hear him scream mother, but like still though, it's like, well, that didn't, like, if they were gonna go with the angle of like his mom is crazy and a murderer, like they would have probably shown her face. Like, clearly.
Yeah, especially in that scene where he was talking to her. Like, in like, he was like, oh, I'm going to take you downstairs.
The only thing that threw me off on that a little bit, that made me be like, well, maybe she is, like, alive or around or whatever, was the fact that, like, they used an actual woman's voice to be the voice of the mother. Like, if they had just made it sound like the male actor trying to imitate his mother, it probably would have been pretty obvious from the beginning. I don't think that guy could have pulled that off, not even close.
Yeah, that would have been tragic. I'm really glad they didn't do that.
My second red flag note that I put down for Norman was when he said a boy's best friend is his mother, because I don't think anybody else has ever said or thought that.
I noticed the pause that he makes before he says that too, where he's like, well, it's like, oh no, whatever he's about to say is about to be bad.
It kind of makes you wonder if, because you have that whole psychiatrist breakdown at the end, because he's saying that he was subsumed by like his mother personality, and that's like just his mother speaking, like that's what she wishes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you know, shut up for a second.
Shut up, I had a fire-ass thought.
I got a good one.
This poetry is fucked.
It's like, she definitely won't want to fuck him after I say that. Because the whole point is, you know, she's jealous, and she's like, let's make this guy as unappealing as possible.
Talk about the birds.
I mean, he eats sandwiches and milk. He's got a bunch of dead birds in his office.
Yeah, talk about the birds.
Talk about the birds. And the creepiest thing about him, besides the dressing up as his mother and stabbing people and embalming her corpse himself, was just when Arbogast pulls up to the hotel for the first time. He's just sitting on the porch eating candy.
Want one? Like immediately.
I'll sit and eat M&Ms, but I don't just sit out on the front porch just popping one at a time in my mouth and offer them to the first man that I see. I'm not offering candy to another grown man.
I got a pack of M&Ms.
Not a stranger.
They're getting shoveled into my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I try to see how many I can fit in my mouth at once. He's just going.
Yeah.
That was just weird. That threw me. I was like,
am chipmunking the hell out of those M&Ms.
I think they went out of their way when directing him. Was like, this guy is like
really like he's never seen a person.
No, like the 1960 idea of like an effeminate, like weak, non-socialized man.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a little like there's a little bit of toxic masculinity elements there. It's like
incel.
There's some incel, some Oedipus influences there.
Yeah, definitely. It's Oedipus influence. She opened his door and he had like a kid room still.
Yeah, the little single bed low to the ground. But then did you notice the record that he had on the what the record said? I didn't catch it completely, and I didn't even go back because I was like just wanting to because it was like the last 10, 15 minutes. I was like, I want to see what the fuck's gonna happen. And it gripped me by then. But I noticed just like on the record, it was like something erotica. So he's got this porn record.
Oh god.
And he's probably just self-flagellating every time he listens to it.
It's like
Stewie forcing me to listen to Stewie. It's just like that. But that was like, I caught that and I was like, ooh, that's kind of like, one, like, of course he's got porn, but two is like, I didn't know that a porn vinyl was a thing. Like, what is that? Like, it's just, would it just be a woman speaking? Or like sex sounds? Like just
when
the porn
me and Daniel
audio?
watched Pearl last week, we found out that apparently they had like snuff film, like porn in 1918.
That's cool.
So
I remember reading it's kind of related, a book about whalers in the 17th and 18th century and how they would use whalebone to make dildos for their wives for when they're gone at sea.
That's so cool of them.
That's definitely 100% a fact.
That's yeah. Don't fact check that.
Don't fact
but,
check that. It's true.
That actually sounds like it would hurt a lot. Imagine a bone starts splitting and you don't notice.
Well, it's just like, what does a whalebone smell like?
Yeah, after a while.
Do you think that, like, how would they sanitize it? Like, well, the strongest disinfectant we got is corn whiskey. So we soaked it in that for a while. It's like, okay. And then we salted it.
Why? Well, it's gonna be good when you goes back up there when you got the salt on there. It's gonna help ease the wounds.
Speaking of preservation, I mean, this dude was legit taking care of his mom's corpse for 10 years after he murdered her. What do you think? I mean, he wasn't just treating the body, I don't think. There's definitely some Oedipus themes in the movie. And I don't really want to think about it much, but that's just where I've been led.
Yeah. It's definitely a topic that we need to discuss. When we come back from this quick break, yeah, nothing else to say. Just stick with the break and we'll be right back. Thanks, man. I mean dead in the sense of, like, they've all been killed by the Hollywood machine.
Hey, look, I don't advocate assault, violence. This isn't intimidation, but we're coming for you, Hollywood.
Yeah.
We're coming for you.
We're coming after you. Okay. Welcome back again to the second part of the 10th episode of Finding New Films. When we left off, Trevor had mentioned the Oedipin.
It's a double whammy. You're not just getting a creepy mother-son relationship, but also the mother is a corpse that the son cares for to preserve because he's had her for 10 years. And I mean, you get to see her at the end of the movie looking pretty good for 10 years post mortem above
Yeah.
ground. I mean, gotta give him credit. He learned a lot.
There's
with
still
those
some
birds.
crud on the skeleton.
He couldn't save the eyes
Yeah.
or the
Whoopsie-daisy.
lips. There's some teeth.
Yeah.
Teeth are still there. Bone structure, pretty good. Handsome woman. It's a handsome woman there.
A very handsome
I mean, like, Norman Bates, one of my notes that I wrote at the beginning was, Norman Bates kind of cute, though. And I don't understand the chicks who simp over, like, Bundy or, like, Dahmer, but Bates, kind of cute, kind of got a nerdy thing going on.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's got a nice jawline.
He likes birds.
He's all bumbly and goofy. Like, I think if he, didn't poison his mom and wear her clothes, he'd be quite the catch. I mean, he's got his own business. Look, he's rising and grinding, running this hotel by himself every day.
I will say he said the word, "Oh, I don't want to eat in the office. It's too officious."
Officious. I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I was like, oh boy.
He said it.
Oh my god.
I was waiting for the whole time for him to just say, like, oh, I'm sweet but a psycho. Because I thought that's what this movie was.
There it is.
There it is. It's like, I'm a family guy. He takes care of his family in the best way that he knows how. But no, back to the implied necrophilia. I feel like not just that, but a lot of the darker aspects of the movie are more implied than just directly shown to you. And that's partially because, like, that's probably what they were intending to do. It's a psychological horror thriller movie, but also they couldn't really do a lot back then with, like, who was, like, commissioning or regulating movies. So I guess if you wanted a wide release, if you wanted a lot of people to see it, you had to be within guidelines. But they didn't have, like, the PG ratings, because, like, even up to the 1980s, you could watch a PG movie and they'd be saying fuck in it. Like, people getting murdered.
Well, as long as you're with your parents, it's okay.
As long as you're in there with your parents, they know if you're 15 and your parent signs this piece of paper, you can get a tattoo.
Yeah,
it's like that.
I remember watching, I think it's called Happy Farm or Funny Farm with Chevy Chase with my dad. And Chevy Chase is just like, God damn it, like right off the bat. Like, that was like one of the first words in the movie. And I was like, what?
Meanwhile, in a Marvel movie where it's like mass genocide is kind of the whole conflict.
They're like, damn!
Gee, dang it! Gee, some crepes. And then, like, people will be just getting smashed to bits or stabbed, slashed, beaten the crap out of, and there's just, like, no blood, just minimal blood. Because in this universe, everyone's just bloodless. They're just bloodless husks.
Just like the Psycho universe.
Just like the Psycho universe, yeah. For as many times as Marianne was supposed to be stabbed, one, they didn't do a good job of making it look like she was being stabbed, because she's just like, no, stop. And, like, it looked like she was stopping the knife at every turn. Like, it didn't look like that she made an actual stab move once. It looked like she might have slashed her a little bit, but there's, like, a few tiddlywinks of blood down the drain, and there's mostly just water down the drain. I was like, where's the big, like, whoosh of blood? Like,
right.
I'm waiting for that, and, like, no, is she anemic or something? And she just, like, why is there no blood? She had massive clots. Like, it wasn't the stab wounds that killed her. She actually had massive blood clots in her.
There's more blood in a pro wrestling match than there was in her own fucking murder.
There's more blood in my toilet bowl. Most days.
Yeah, same, right?
Hey, man, Chipotle.
Drop a like, yeah. Chipotle. One of my lines about Norman is, oh, he a creep for real.
He a creep for real. The peephole.
The shot of his eye up close, yeah.
So this man really put her in room number 1. He's like, I know exactly what I'm fucking doing tonight. It's like, I'm gonna kill again.
Insatiable bloodlust.
Gee, dang it. I'll kill her. I'll kill another.
You let me out of here, I swear to God I'll kill again.
Alright. Give me parole. You're out of here. The way he diligently cleaned up the crime scene with nothing but water, I mean, it was like the blood came right out, which makes you think it's like what was in that water?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't get blood stains out of anything to save my life.
There used to be so many chemicals in the water in the 1950s.
Drinking that East Palestine water.
Yeah, and so they were just dipping it into there, and I think there was just natural Lysol built up in there. Yeah.
It's like when you turn the faucet on, you just instantly smell the water.
You're like, oh, ooh. I'm not drinking this. I don't even want to put it on my hands. I thought it was a really smart and interesting detail to have her be like, oh, that guy was creepy. I'm not going to throw that paper away in the trash can and throw it in the toilet. And then she missed one. And that's
the one that gave away the most information.
Right.
That one little sliver of paper, like, I would have ripped it up a little bit more.
In a modern movie, too, they would have, super isolated on the fact that she missed the trash can. And there would have been, a super
just
telegraphed
thing. Yeah, this happened.
You have to you have to think back. Like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Really, why wouldn't she just ball it up and flush the whole thing? Was she really that worried about a single piece of notebook paper?
It was funny that, I will agree with that. It's pretty funny that she's worried about it, and then she just chucks them
like confetti in the toilet.
At the fucking trash or the toilet.
It's like, I know the era, but they're really writing this woman stupid in this movie.
Yeah.
Back to the, I'm being followed by the police because I just stole $40,000. I'll trade in my car right in front of this cop, and I'm gonna be so sus through this whole process.
I'm gonna make sure I'm really, really weird so that the guy will give my plates to this cop immediately as soon as we're done.
Yeah, the only person who was a worse liar than Marion in this movie was probably Norman.
Yeah.
Because Arbogast played him.
Oh my god. He made him look like a bubbling idiot.
I mean, he really just fumbled at every turn. It's like, we haven't, had anybody here for a few weeks. It's like, this couple was here last week. 5 seconds later. It's like, we've gotten away with 2 murders before this? How?
Literally, those people must have had, no family whatsoever. And I really do think that's kind of what she assumed about what's her name? Marion.
Yeah, because he had to have.
Because,
he just did it really willy-nilly.
Fake name. She was acting, I don't know, I want to say weird, because she wasn't necessarily doing anything weird. She's acting combative. But...
I mean, it was just... she was not acting like someone who really... I mean, she didn't think out her plan. She was totally impulsive to steal this money. She didn't...
Yeah.
I do have a little trouble understanding her motivation. Because I guess you have to just infer, she was going to use that money to pay off Sam's debts and, get married and, move somewhere probably farther away. But it was just weird that she just did that, on the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Not going to tell my sister shit. I'm out of here. What could possibly go wrong? And then, that shot when she's, driving and her boss looks at her, as he's crossing the street, and she's like, oh, fuck. I was like, I've been there. And your boss is like, can you come in today? Do this thing. I'm like, oh, no, I can't. I'm going to be busy. I got an appointment or family thing. And then you just see them at the McDonald's,
You say, oh, my appointment's down the road over there?
Yeah, no. My appointment was here. We're supposed to meet at McDonald's. And then... I think I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, I'm goodbye. That's what Norman was like when he started getting questioned by Arbogast. It's I think I'm going to throw up.
He should have just pretended to be choking on that candy he was eating. Also, that was just weird packaging for a candy.
Yeah.
I thought it was trail mix, sunflower seeds, and candy.
No, yeah, it's candy. Here's a hard candy.
And not to be all, not to go back to toxic masculinity, but it's just weird to me that he's just sitting out there eating candy. That's weird.
Why are you eating candy, bruh?
I feel like you lose your sweet tooth over time, but he's still living in his children's room, so he's that's kind of another sign right there.
Yeah.
Something's off. It's this guy's just eating candy.
This grown-ass man out here eating candy.
But I love how people just keep on topping each other with the inability to lie well.
Yeah.
When Sam and Lila arrived at the hotel, and they're just basically saying we're here to find got no bags,
Yeah, I'm really surprised Norman was falling for what Sam was doing so easily. And it's like, well, she's obviously up there trying to find your mom. Like, oh, my wife's asleep. And it's like, oh, okay. I'll just believe that because I'm not definitely answering your question.
She's
really combative.
Within 45 seconds of getting into the room.
Yeah, because he just started looking for me, and whenever he was like standing right there in the doorway, I interpreted that as he was in the parlor watching them and won, because he knew that that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
So then you just completely contradicted that, but I guess you can't. Then the following scene makes it where you can't really infer that because, you know, he just gets so easily distracted by him asking him like, what do you want to do with your life, Norman?
Yeah.
It's
so funny. He just comes in and he's like, I'm going to shit on him. And, like, you could have just had, like, a regular conversation with the guy. Like, oh, what's the deal? Like, do you taxidermy? Like, I see a bird in there. You know, like, you could have done totally casual, like, chill talk, and he wouldn't have caught on for, like, a while. And then you
stab him in the back.
Yeah. Then you kick him in the nuts, and you snap his neck.
Yeah.
Just like that. And you rip his spinal cord out.
Kick the back of his leg, and snap his neck, and... Yeah, that's how you do that.
I mean, Norman just really, it just shows, like, he's still kind of, I guess, naive like a child because he, you know, he's like, oh, this guy's just talking to me. There's nothing weird going on here. Like, the same way he doesn't recognize how he's a fucking freak. He doesn't recognize when other people are acting totally out of the norm. Like, get at Norm.
He did it. There it is.
That wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry.
I did I have screech written down. I'd never, like, heard where that...
At one point, I thought it was Jaws.
I think they may use it.
Honestly,
that movie did come out 15 years later.
I mean, the Jaws is... I'm pretty sure the Jaws theme after the dun-dun sounds kind of... It's a similar little ditty. It gives you the same feeling of like, oh shit, something's about to go down.
I really like the drain metaphor of. I thought it was a metaphor when they were showing the drain that she like flushed her whole life down the drain. Yeah,
I mean, as soon as I found out, like, oh, only like 15 minutes from where I'm trying to go, just drive the extra 15 minutes, dude. Like, oh, but it's raining. So?
Bro.
You stole $40,000.
Yeah, I'm not stopping for my life.
Like, not much.
Nevertheless, being like, yeah, no, I'll stay for dinner. Like, what the fuck?
Like, sandwiches and milk sounds great. It's like, you bought a car in 5 minutes to get out here, and now you're just like, I'll sleep. 15 minutes from now.
And then I'll hang before sleep, though.
I'll hang. This is some chill time.
You get a beer, bro?
Like, this guy's totally not throwing off any weird signs at all. I'll sit with him privately. I mean, he's already told me I'm the only person here besides him. Yeah. Like, I'm not getting any, you know, unusual feelings.
One of the other red flags to me was, so, like, you know, and they try to cloud, like, oh, who killed him, you know, whatever. I kind of, like, immediately knew it was Norman when she dies, and then, like, the next scene is gonna be like, oh my god, blood! Mom!
It's like, wait, you're just sitting downstairs in the house, like, by the door, like, right by the door.
And it's
and
like,
you didn't see her run out with the knife, but then you do see her come back in, all covered in blood. Like, oh, blood! Oh, blood! Like, I don't know, dude. Like, again, kind of a pussy.
Well, it's like, how would he have known that happened up at the house? Sorry. How would he have known that happened up at the house? And then, like, just known to sprint down there and be like,
yeah, like,
murder!
Like, not, like, oh, she fell down the stairs.
Yeah, I will say,
or
though,
like,
that actor sold the fuck out of him being, like, in shock over, like, a murder.
Yeah, like, I was kind of buying it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But then the way he just so quickly cleaned up and, like, just rolled her body up in the shower curtain, I was like, okay.
Like, this guy's...
He seems pretty unbothered by this part of the whole, like...
This
seems to be a pretty regular occurrence for old Norm here.
Yeah, Norm
He's practiced, but like I was still thinking, like, how often does his mom kill people? That he's just like, okay, I gotta clean up another one. I'm never gonna get laid.
Fucking hell, Mom.
You just
Stop
kill
killing
any
people.
woman who comes to the hotel.
Gotta stop killing all the guys that I want to fucking be with. All the girls, really.
She bought him that record. He's like, I'm sorry for that last one.
Yeah. I want to make another note about the score. It really, like, whenever there's something that's scary that's about to happen, or, like, they want you to be scared about something, it was incredible.
Yeah, no, especially, like,
It's just this super dark, super heavy, like, major chords.
Those last, the last scene with Norman running in with his mother's clothes on, the wig, and that fucking horrifying smile on his face. He's, like, waving the knife, like, about to stab Lila. I was like, jeez, like, I like lurched backwards on the couch. I was like, I wanted to get farther away from it. It was totally unconscious, and I was like, that made me truly like not at ease.
Yeah,
I was thoroughly uneased there. I was not into that, and I was, I was all the way up here, like, ooh, I want to see what's about to happen. It's like, and it's immediately like, he's immediately apprehended. But there was for a second I was like, is he gonna like reach back and like, get Sam in the kidney? And then put up a little bit more of a fight. But no, he's a wimp.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing is everyone shits on him the whole time. It's like, your life sucks. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I mean, he might have not been going to murder you before you said all this bullshit. Like, look, obviously he's weird, but he was like, man, you don't want to, like, change everything about you and how you live and put your mom in a home. It's like, I'm cool with this. Like, I chose it. And it's like, I would kill myself if I had to do what you do. Like, I would fucking rather go to hell.
Oh, God.
This is terrible. This place is a fucking dump. All you got is milk.
This is a nightmare.
I would kill myself. This sounds terrible.
It does sound pretty terrible.
It's like working at that time's equivalent of, like, a Super 8.
We're gonna get on the pod, see how we felt about being in a hotel.
What's a hotel movie? You guys should watch Hotel for Dogs.
I saw that movie in theaters twice.
Twice?
I was 8 years old, man. It was so funny.
Like, mommy, Hotel for Dogs again.
And I got my dad to take me. They both got a dose of it.
I got the best double feature ever when I was like 4, I want to say, because Incredibles and SpongeBob, the SpongeBob movie, were in theaters at the same time. Mm-hmm. And my mom committed a federal crime. And after we watched the SpongeBob movie, she was like, let's go watch Incredibles. We just walked right across the hall and walked into Incredibles. Nobody stopped us. And she's still on the run to this day. Haven't seen her.
Hey, what are you going to do?
She was in the Target parking lot next door. And she was like, all right, guys, they're taking me.
I've never seen her since.
You're still with Grandma now. Hope it was worth it.
I want to note how that RBS is a really cool character.
Really,
he didn't deserve to die like that.
Badass name. He kind of went out like a punk.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna walk in this house with no weapon or anything. Like, I'm trespassing, committing a crime, no warrant. I'm not actually a cop anyway. I just got a hunch something's up here. It's just like that was so lackadaisical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna up these stairs. Yeah. I'm just gonna look straight ahead at the wall at the top of the stairs. I'm not gonna look at any of the doors or anything. He didn't hear the door open.
That's the type of character that when he came in, when Mr. Black comes in to Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. That's the type of guy that like Arbogast feels like when he first comes in, where he's like, oh, this dude's about to figure this shit out. Or like in the Knives Out movies. You're like, oh shit, this dude's about to get down to business, and it's like, no, he's just a plain dumbass. I just love that it's supposed to be like he got stabbed in the face. Yeah. Which like, like right here is where the blood was coming out, like a little tiny stream of blood. God, you got some ketchup from your sandwich and milk on your face there, but like that would have been hilarious if you hear do 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 do, and you see like. Like the triangle, and then it's just him getting mustard or ketchup on his face.
And he fell from the top stair all the way down, just on his back, like, ah.
Oh, yeah, he was like, ah.
Landed perfectly flat on his back. Didn't tumble a little bit or anything. Like, oh.
Of course not. Just poof.
And then he got stabbed a bunch more. It's like, okay, he would die from that.
He would probably die from
But like a stab in the face, I feel like, I mean, I'd fall down the stairs, but I wouldn't just lay there like, and like get stabbed some more. I'd be thrashing and screaming. He's just like, ooh, ow, my back. Got the wind knocked out of me.
Shit. I'll be alright though.
Mrs. Bates.
Mr. Bang, 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 bang. That fucking long-winded explanation from the psychiatrist.
Like, just in case you guys didn't watch the rest of the movie, or you just weren't. It's like they
just
knew,
in case you fell asleep and you just woke up.
They knew like 60 or 60. Oh my gosh, they knew 60 years from now that we would just be on our phones for half the movie and not paying any attention. So like, well, hopefully at the end here, I'll just get the summary. So if you want Spark Notes, just skip to the last like 5 minutes. He keeps it pretty tight. And he just sums up everything.
It's just the OG explanation video. Right at the end of the movie.
He's just Vsauce.
Yeah. Explain the end of this movie.
I love the one, I guess, prosecutor, lawyer, whoever was there, like, he's a transvestite.
No.
Well, no.
Yeah, and he was literally just
That's
like,
not real.
no.
But then when the psychiatrist went on to explain what a transvestite was, he was also wrong.
Yeah. Someone who derives sexual pleasure by dressing up as another person. It's like, no, that would be not, and that would be incorrect.
I don't believe that's what it is. Can't blame him. Well, you can.
I blame them heavy.
This movie passed the Bechdel test, right?
Slightly.
Sort of.
I want to think so.
I mean, earlier in the conversation, they were talking about the one woman's husband.
Yeah.
And how she took tranquilizers on their honeymoon. They're just giving out tranquilizers.
They took horse tranquilizer? That's
she
pretty
just fucking
crazy.
laid there.
This fucking sucked.
Like, I love you. He's like, oh. He's like, oh, let me wipe that drool off your face, my bro. I took muscle relaxers once when I pulled the muscle in my neck, and I just laid there. I mean, I couldn't move if I wanted to. I was like, okay, this is what being dead is like.
I mean, one, it has to have 2 named women in it. Ooh. Yikes.
I want to say there was a name, right?
Did she? I don't know. Because she doesn't talk to her sister.
I'm
looking it up now. I'll let you know in a sec.
Man, would that really sink it if she didn't have a name?
Yeah. Might be it on that one.
I watched it with subtitles. I feel like she had a name, but I don't know if anyone ever actually called her by her name.
If she's Mrs. Chambers, I guess that's a name.
I mean, she is one of 3 women in the whole movie.
Yeah, Lila is... See, I honestly thought Lila is...
The sheriff's wife. No, Mrs. Chambers was the sheriff's wife. Because he was Al Chambers.
See, I thought Marion and Lila were played by the same person.
I did too for a minute. They did a great job of finding someone who definitely looked like she could be her sister.
Looked like dead ringers.
And at that point, I wouldn't blame Sam. He was like, "So, what are you doing after this?" It was like in the lawyer's office, in the police station. Like, so what you doing after this?
Yeah, no, I don't think that girl. Oh, Carolyn.
Carol. That sounds right.
Excuse me. She was the only child of English director Alfred Hitchcock.
That explains why she was kind of...
Nepo baby. Yeah, anyway. Or it's more probably just like, we don't want to pay this actress, so can you come do these
a small bit.
Yeah.
I thought...
Nevertheless, I'm pretty sure the movie does pass the Bechdel test by an inch. Literally by an inch.
Yeah, that's more progressive than Clerks. So, gotcha
That
there,
doesn't
Kevin.
say much.
Gotcha there, Kevin Smith.
That does not say much
what
at
the car
all.
salesman said is like something about like because you're a woman, like you'll always just talk back. You don't get what you want somehow.
Okay.
And the creepy ass, heavy-handed flirting of the, I guess, real estate mogul, whatever Doug Dimmadome from the beginning was supposed to be. Just a guy with money and a bolo tie. So you know he's a piece of shit. You see somebody that was wearing a fucking bolo tie? Like, that guy's a total douchebag.
Yeah, and you need to run immediately. Because you're gonna die.
Strangely,
Oh, cool, never mind, I can figure it out. 1960. What the fuck? Oh, never mind, I got it. No, you can vamp.
I can vamp?
Go ahead and vamp. Or, no.
Oh.
Damn it. Go ahead.
When... Shit, I can't remember. I didn't write down who said it, but I wrote the quote, "A son is a poor substitute for a lover."
Oh, yeah.
It's like, so you tried.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me, is that you tried that route.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. You know, I wonder how much of what he said about, like, his father dying broke his mom.
Psychopath.
Gets a pass.
Yeah. Psychopath is the Bechdel test.
You know what?
You know what? I was gonna ask about it with when my dad and me did the assassination of Jesse James, and I honestly just thought about it and laughed because I was like, I don't think there's a woman.
Well, like Star Wars is like, there's 2 women in the galaxy.
Yeah. Who the fuck am I supposed to talk to? Yeah.
There's more squid people than women. Than just human women.
I really enjoyed that about Guardians of the Galaxy though. It's just like fucking an alien.
Yeah.
Just like he'd fuck whatever.
Yeah, Star-Lord.
He's a real human man.
Star-Lord's more open-minded than Chris Pratt.
He's a real human man. He would fuck whatever.
Exactly. And what do the antennas do?
What the antennas do?
Are we getting to a point where we need to start collecting our final thoughts?
So we need to take a break, and then we need to put this movie on the list.
I gotta formulate my rating.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a second and figure out how we want to rate this movie on the list. So stick around, and we'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around this far, and just stick around a little bit longer. Probably 10 minutes, maybe not even.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Like, why are you even arguing about this? I'll take your phone. Give me your phone right now. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Hey, it's us. You find the new films Friday guy. Welcome back.
Yeah, fuck a Tuesday.
Fuck a Tuesday. I meant to have the list up already, but I fucking forgot. But there you go.
That's alright.
It took me 2 seconds. I'm getting better at this podcasting thing. Alrighty. So we're gonna rate the movie, and then we're gonna get out of your hair. So, I mean, you can go ahead and go first.
So, as we were discussing right before we started recording again, I can't really judge this the same way I would a more modern movie, just because you gotta take in account, it's old, and there's lots of stuff they couldn't or wouldn't do in a movie back then. If I had to just go based on the objective stuff, which is like the performance of the actors, the soundtrack, score, the tone of the movie, and just the story itself and like how it made me feel, I would have to give it an 8.5. I think it was firing on all cylinders pretty good. There might have been a little bit of convenient plot holes to give it the resolution it had. I think it might have been more not satisfying, but I think it would have been cooler if he got away with it. It's like, I don't think he was that bad of a guy. No, I think it was funny that he just so happened, like, he knocked that guy out cold with a vase, and then he didn't finish him off. And then he conveniently arrived right as, he was about to murder Lila. I think like maybe if Lila had died, I'd feel better about it because like only having two bodies on you, I mean 2 off-screen kills and then 2 on-screen. Could have done with like 1 more murder.
Yeah,
to
really,
feel like a real
really,
slasher.
yeah,
but
really.
It is the first slasher, so I gotta give it some points for that. So I'm still
Really
at a solid.
solidify that serial killing status. You know what I mean? Like 4.
Yeah, that is what makes you. I think it has to be like more than 2, right?
Something like that.
Something like, I mean,
Make you a mass murderer.
He just barely hits the mark for like.
I think 3 or 4 makes you a mass murderer.
But I feel like if he had killed a couple more, he would have been more iconic. Because 4 people, that's like what Jason Voorhees does in like 5 minutes.
For real.
Even Scream has more bodies. So, but even taking all that into account, I'm sticking with 8.5. I think it was very good. It had my attention the whole time. I found the characters intriguing, and while someone like Sam seemed kind of simple at first, like, there's more to this guy, like, because I thought at first, like, when he's confronted with like the murder and like she stole this money and like she's on the run and like they're trying to find her, he would have been like, I was just fucking her, I'm gonna fuck. But he's like, oh no, I'm gonna help. Like, something's wrong here. Yeah. Like, he actually cared about her. I was like, okay, there's a little bit more depth to these characters than I thought. Lila was just kind of like, I'm not patient. But she was cool too. She wasn't like a typical like, oh, this is terrifying. She's like, I'm gonna go explore this big ass scary house by myself. Yeah, and that's pretty fucking brave because I would have been like, why don't we both beat the crap out of this Bates guy? And
then we'll go see where the mom is.
Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with that movie. I don't think it was a waste of time at all. It flew right by me.
Yeah.
Just a solid, tight, hour and a half?
Yeah, hour 45.
Yeah, it's a tight movie. That's what I like about older movies, is they did not be like, let's do 3 hours.
Yeah. They got in and out. They let you just live your life. With that said, I think I'm gonna go 7.5. I don't know. There's parts of the dialogue, like with the car mechanic and, just in the Texas man at the beginning, where I'm just kind of like completely shot out of the universe. Or it's just like, I'm watching a play right now. And that really just didn't sell the surrealness for me, and I think that's where modern horrors are able to like catch my attention personally so much better. It's just like, since it's so fresh in my mind, I keep referring back to it. But Pearl from last week, I mean, there's no sound whatsoever when people are getting murdered. It's just like you hear like when an axe is hitting their skin. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh. You know that it hurts. You can feel it. I don't know. I think stuff like that resonates a little bit more with me personally, but who knows?
That's fair. No,
but I mean, 75, 7.5 out of 10, 3.25 is not a bad movie by any means. And that puts it at 16, so it's gonna slot in at number 7, above Mulholland Drive and the assassination of Jesse James, and then Airplane is still chugging out the caboose. I don't know. I honestly do not know what movie's gonna take the caboose spot away from Airplane. That one's gonna be a hard one.
Well, you know what I've never seen? Cars 2. I've heard some things.
So Trevor will be back next week. Where we'll be watching Cars 2.
About planes.
Yeah, Pixar's Planes. Oh God, no.
I think that's a respectable rating right there.
Yeah, I do. I think
middle of the pack.
It'll be middle of the pack by the time we're like at 20 episodes for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking the grand scale here. I mean, wow, Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That movie was really good.
Shit.
Really, really, really good.
All right, next time I'm gonna pick a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna try to get up to the top.
Yeah. Without having seen it, I'm gonna try to pick what I think will be like a perfect 10 for at least one of us.
I would love to see that. I want to see its perfect 10. Apocalypse Now is about as close as I felt like I was going to get to that. But we'll see. I mean,
I got a good feeling about the 4th Transformers movie.
Is that The Revenge of the Fallen?
That's the second one. I'm sorry, I have seen the first 2. But I don't think I've seen the one with Mark Wahlberg in it.
Is the 4th one the one where they have the dinosaur Transformers?
I mean, if that is the case, I think that's a perfect 20. Right out of the gate. It's like
have you never heard about that?
No.
Yeah, there's a whole subplot in one of the old Transformers, or I guess one of the newer Transformers. It's either 4 or 5. They go and they find this part of the world where there's just prehistoric looking Transformers. They transform out of being Triceratops into being the combat bots.
Why did they decide to stop transforming as animals? They're like, I'm gonna be a fucking car.
Yeah, I love that. And they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna transform like Jazz from the first one."
I remember him.
Oh my god! You want a piece of me? No, I want 2. And he rips him in half.
Oh. That's kind of sick.
That is pretty fun.
Well,
yeah, I think that's it for this one.
Yeah,
we got some riffing off on the last end of the pod. Some good riffs for the end of this one.
Okay, go find something else to do.
Yeah. Why are you still watching us? We're just chilling, talking, and you guys are just staring at us right now. No, but thanks guys for watching this whole podcast. You got to the end of it. Next week we will be here and shit, I got it wrote down. I don't even remember who it is now.
We'll be talking about a movie.
Yeah, we're gonna be finding a new film.
I thought you were going to say Finding Nemo.
Yeah, it's gonna be Finding Nemo. I've seen that movie.
Wait, you said it though.
Yeah.
That's the name of. Oh well, it's not. That's the name of the show though.
It's the name of the show.
Oh my god, I love the meta references.
Next week, David will be here, and we will be watching the French film La Haine. Yeah, I don't know. We're really just limping to the barn these days. No, but
Is that David's pick?
Yeah, no. No, yeah.
Like La Haine.
Yeah. More like La Anus. No.
Watch it be fucking amazing.
No, it's got great reviews. One of the guys, it's like the main protagonist in the movie, is one of the antagonists from Oceans 12 and 13. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. He's also in Black Swan. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We've been finding new films. This week we found Psycho. Next week we'll find La Haine. And, yeah, that's it. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for coming.